Revolutionaries, and welcome to the Hello Revolutionary video blog. If you don't know who I am, my name is Hayley Bozowski and I am a positive psychology coach for female entrepreneurs. I help women turn their passion into profits and create freedom-based businesses. And each week we look at a different topic. Every Thursday I push out a new video that aims to equip you on your journey to success, and this week is no different. I have got an amazing lineup for you. I am going to be interviewing one of my favorite people. This is a new thing that I'm going to be doing moving forward. I'm going to be introducing you to some of my favorite people who also happen to be leaders in the self-development movement, coming from a variety of different backgrounds, whether it be positive psychology, psychotherapy, business coaching, or more kind of spiritual entrepreneurship. And we're going to be listening to what they've got to say, and all of their content is going to really help you on your journey. Now, I have to apologize for being slightly absent for the last 4 weeks. I had 2 weeks Christmas holiday, and then the other 2 weeks, as you can see right now, I've got a empty bookcase behind me. It's because I'm in the process of packing up my London flat and moving down to Cornwall, which is going to be amazing. So excited to be doing some films in the future from down there for you. So apologies for that, but we are back on track now. And like I say, I am going to be supplementing my vlog moving forward this year with some awesome interviews. So make sure you subscribe. If you are not subscribed, click the red subscribe button below so that you'll get all of this awesome content. I've got some really great stuff lined up for you. All of this awesome content will come straight to you the second it's launched. You'll be one of the first people to get it, and you can then begin applying it in your life and watching your dreams begin to manifest and come alive. So, like I say, this week I'm going to be introducing you to one of my favorite people. Her name is Kim. She is fabulous, a really fabulous character. I'm going to be introducing you more to her now on the video interview, so let's head straight over there. Okay, see you later, guys.
Hey guys, so I am here with Kim Morgan from Barefoot Coaching. Kim, it's great to have you here today. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today and for being here. So, Kim, the first time I met you, I had a little bit of a girl crush on you because
Now you tell me.
I walked into this training room and I was just kind of expecting some real kind of academic training to be delivered. And then you walked in looking fabulous, bringing all the energy that you bring into the environment with you. And here was this woman who was not only a fabulous trainer, but also a great entrepreneur. You were immensely vulnerable in your sharing of stories and life experience, and very generous in your time with everyone who was on the training program. And but you were also quite a force as well. You had this strength which was just fabulous to be around. So I just kind of fell in love with you the first time I met you. And you know, like I say, you have started a business, you have won awards, you are an author, and I would hold the book up right now, but as you can see, I've got an empty bookcase behind me and all my books are in boxes. You are now a columnist for Psychologies Magazine. So from the outside looking in, you are the epitome of success in your sector. But I know that from having conversations over lunch with each other that you shared with me, it hasn't always felt that way.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you could share with us a little bit about how you've overcome those kind of times where you've not always felt up to the challenge.
Okay. From the inside looking out, Hayley, it still doesn't feel that way, I have to say. Well, thank you for saying those lovely things about me. It was
All
great
true.
to hear. But I still have that feeling of who is she talking about? So have I overcome it? Probably not entirely. What I can say about that is that I think that that kind of feeling of I'm a fraud and am I really doing all this and why are people saying these nice things about me is really common in people who push themselves to do more and more things. And I have come to the conclusion that it kind of goes with the territory and stop fighting it. I was thinking about it just a couple of days ago, and I was thinking, do I feel like I can't put my shoes on in the morning, or that I can't brush my teeth, or that I can't write? No, because those are things that I've been doing for years and years and years. Do I feel like I can't drive? No. Do I feel like I can't park very well? Yes. But, but that's just a fact. And I think this feeling of kind of being an imposter, which I often write about, comes from just moving constantly into a stretch zone. So that once you've done something a certain number of times, it ceases to become scary, and then you find something else scary to do. So have I overcome it? Yes, I've overcome the things that used to make me feel inadequate years ago, but I haven't overcome the things that make me feel inadequate today.
So it's like you're up leveling. So each time you step into a new comfort zone, those feelings come back again, revisit you. So it's something we're always working on, particularly as women who are looking to stretch ourselves and keep pushing those comfort zones. So when you've got an idea mulling in your head, and then you start maybe writing it down, and then those feelings start coming in and you're aware that you're stepping into a stretch zone, what's going on in your head? What's now pushing you forward?
Oh, okay. It doesn't work like that for me.
Okay.
So the idea carries me forward.
Okay.
I get really carried away, as I know you do. We're very alike with the sort of creativity, and we envisage ourselves standing on a stage talking to 1,000 people, and it all seems like a marvelous idea. And that energy drives us forward and enables us to do it, I think.
Yeah.
The imposter feeling comes
When you're behind
when
stage.
I'm on the stage. Yeah. I think, why did I decide to do this?
It's normally when you're on the tube to the venue that you just suddenly think, what was I thinking? And you hadn't really internalized it until that moment. You were just rolling with the vision of it.
Exactly. And so that moment of kind of putting yourself on the line. What I now do is say to myself, I pat myself on the back metaphorically and sometimes literally for saying, like, how many people are doing this? How many people actually put themselves out there and give it a go? And kind of, what's the worst that can happen? No one cares like I do about it.
I love that, because quite often I think we're so generous at giving kindness to others, but we rarely give it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And what you just shared there is a real expression of kindness to yourself. So would you say that's one of the things that is a good tactic to use?
Definitely one of the things that's a good tactic to use. Be kind to yourself, surround yourself with other kind people who properly believe in you, not people who flatter you, but people who see you as you really are. Don't waste time. I've learned this in my life. Don't waste time with people who are trying to pull you down, particularly if you are a woman trying to build your business. Just make sure that you have a kind of ocean of love around you saying, we believe in you. Sometimes you mess up, but actually, we believe in what you're trying to do and your intention and your heart. I think be kind to yourself about that, about the courage it takes to start a business to begin with. Also, I think particularly if you're a woman starting a business, and I work with a lot of women starting businesses, what I see them doing is discounting everything that they've done before. So they feel like, oh, I'm just starting something completely new that I've never done before. a business, but actually everything that they've done to get them to that point counts and is valid and
Exactly.
valuable. So it's about kind of accessing all your previous successes, even
Mm,
in different contexts, even
mm,
if that's been in a completely different environment or bringing up a family. All those things really, really matter and will
mm.
feed into what you're doing now. But
Yeah.
we tend to just draw a line and go, oh, I haven't done this before, so who am I to be doing it?
We forget about the wisdom that we've carried and built up all of the years. We seem to kind of leave it at the door when we're about to step into a new experience. And actually, we'd be so much better resourced if we brought that into the room with us in the new
Definitely,
experience. So,
definitely. It's a really, really good expression, actually, leaving it at the door. Drag it all through the door with you.
and I know that when I first met you, you were so keen to hook me up with other female entrepreneurs
Yeah.
who were kind of pushing boundaries and were spearheading different things in a variety of different ways. But how did you find your cheerleaders? I know that a lot of the women who I work with, they say my family doesn't really get what I'm doing, my siblings don't get what I'm doing, my friends don't get what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What about those women who are completely all alone? Where do you think they can find their tribe of cheerleaders?
Well, I think there are lots and lots of networking groups and
Mm,
great organisations now that are supporting women entrepreneurs. And I think there's a huge move towards entrepreneurship from women
mm,
now that didn't
massively.
exist when I
Yeah.
became an entrepreneur. And I think there are lots of reasons that
Mm,
sit behind that,
mm,
like it's the best way to get on,
mm,
actually, with the glass ceiling still existing in many organisations.
mm,
So, so I think there's plenty of stuff out there that virtually that
mm.
will support women
Huge
to do
amounts.
that. I think in you know in physicality there's plenty of stuff out there, networking groups, TED Talks, inspirational women,
Mm,
your Hello Revolutionary podcasts and videos and
mm,
blogs, all that. I think soak it up, immerse yourself in it, find your own group of women near you, set up a networking group. But just, I think you need to have two things. You need to have people who believe in what you're doing, who are shoring you up.
mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I think you need to have people who have already done what you're hoping to
Pulling you
do,
up.
just to show you that it's possible.
That's
Sorry, I was just going to say, you've really reminded me of something a long time ago. When I first started, there was a woman who was one of the first coaches I think that I'd ever encountered. I was probably in my 30s. She was in her 60s.
wow.
She was a remarkable woman who took off in a camper van in the end and all around the world, just stopping and offering coaching to anyone who
That
wanted
sounds
it.
awesome. That's like my dream. I'd love to
I
do
know.
that.
Maybe we can do that
Maybe
together
we
one
can.
day. Because now we are like that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Women, that
I'm
age
learning
group for
so
us,
much from you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and she gave me a break, actually. I was kind of moving into coaching.
Mm,
I like lots of people starting out, I was struggling to get clients. I was
mm,
struggling to get a kind of gig in an organization. And she just offered me the opportunity to shadow her, work with her, co-deliver with her.
wow.
And that gave me so much.
Yeah.
That gave me so much that she believed in me and she was generous and not pulling up the ladder behind her, but just saying, come on, come up here, you can do it.
Oh, I
Um,
love that. It reminds me of a quote, and I'm going to get the words completely wrong, but hopefully you can grasp the spirit of what I'm saying. And I can't remember who said it, but it was something along the lines of behind every successful person is someone who gave them an opportunity, is
yeah,
an even more successful person who gave them an opportunity. And
yes,
I think that's it, that as we're moving up the ladder, we need to be looking for those opportunities and being open to those opportunities because your imposter syndrome could shut them down. Somebody could
yeah,
be giving you an opportunity and you could say, well, I'm not ready for it. And
yeah,
that was your opportunity and you've just kind of shut the door on it, but also as well be looking that even in your little successes, who else can you be kind of be paying it backwards to in a way?
Definitely.
To someone else behind you.
Yeah, I've always done that since she did that for me. I really I wanted to sort of pay it forward, or whatever the expression is, and keep doing it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you mentioned imposter syndrome, and in
Yeah.
Psychologies Magazine, I'm going to pull it, I've got my little sticky label out. In your article this month, you're going to be writing moving forward in Psychologies Magazine.
Yeah, every month. Yeah.
Brilliant. So if you want to hear more from Kim, make sure you do buy Psychologies Magazine. But this month, you were talking about imposter syndrome, and it's one of those kind of words that's thrown around quite a lot, particularly within the coaching community, but also outside of that as well. And like anything with the word syndrome after it, people aren't so ready to admit that they have it. So what would you say are some of the symptoms of imposter syndrome?
Okay. I would like to say, first of all, that the syndrome is not a kind of technical or medical, diagnostic term in this case. Two women psychologists coined the term in the 1970s, and it is just a term. And I actually think now people are wearing it as a bit of a badge of honor. I think it's swinging the other way a bit.
Like the perfectionist label.
I'm an imposter, yeah. So the symptoms, if you like, are really easy to spot and identify. They are essentially an inability to kind of internalize your accomplishments. So just as we said, leaving them at the door, really, not carrying them with you, not realizing that you have done all those things. And each time you do something, feeling like, oh gosh, this is the first time I've done it and I'm not doing it very well. An inability to kind of believe what people say about you and what other people see in you. And I had that a bit when you introduced me just at the beginning of this session. I had this voice of dissenters in my head saying, why is she saying all this? So that feeling like you've only got where you've got to because of luck or being in the right place at the right time, or because sometimes even when it's really extreme, you negate every achievement that you have because you think, well, if I can do it, it can't be that difficult to do. So it can be really detrimental to your self-esteem. It can be really detrimental to your progress, actually. And like all these things, it comes in shades. And most of us have it sometimes to a small extent. It's when it really goes out of kilter that it can be quite damaging and crippling to somebody's life, actually.
And I know that I've seen it playing out in women's lives a lot in terms of them setting up businesses and then these great opportunities coming along and them which is the opportunity they've been dreaming of, and like I mentioned earlier, them actually turning it down because they don't feel quite ready for it yet. And actually, if they weren't ready for it, they wouldn't have been asked for it.
No.
And in many cases, they've gone through extreme vetting processes or applied for tenders, and they've still been picked, in the midst of lots of other people applying for the same piece of work. And they've still said, they don't quite know everything about me yet. I'm still not ready. I blanked the application process, or I got through that by fluke. But what are some of the other kind of detrimental ways that in your experience you've seen it playing out, particularly maybe in women or...
Yeah, I think just to build on what you've said there, I have seen women lots of times actually go further than just thinking I'm not good enough, and actually pointing that out to people that they're working with, which is astonishing in the book that you don't have there, and neither do I. I wrote about a case study where a woman actually went to the directors of her company and forced them to look through all her work because she really felt that they were not realising how rubbish she was. Now that's pretty extreme.
Yeah, wow.
She went to them so many times, and in the end they said, okay, we'll look. We don't think we need to, but in the end they looked, and in the end they found some stuff, inevitably.
So it
So I think,
reinforced the beliefs that she probably had about
yeah,
herself as well.
yeah, definitely. Something else goes along with it that's quite kind of complex, and that is if you really kind of feel like a fraud yourself and you don't feel that you're good enough, you tend to think that other people are better than they actually are. So something that I've noticed with particularly entrepreneurs and particularly female um, is that they invest in people who really are not as capable as they think they are, and only to be let down by those people. So, for example, I know a woman who's a trainer, who turns down work for herself and asks other people to do that training work, who then don't deliver it very well. But she has such distorted thinking that she can't even see their inadequacy, and she can't see her own adequacy. So it gets really complex. The other thing is that I think it's fairly well documented that people with imposter syndrome are usually quite high achievers for the
Yeah,
reason that we said at the
pushing them
beginning of
forward.
this conversation, because they keep trying things. The more they push themselves, the more pressure they put themselves under, the more diligent and conscientious they become. The more they achieve, the higher the stakes are, the more pressure they put on themselves. And there is a real danger of just burnout in the end, of just wanting to run away and, live on an island in Scotland or something and keep sheep. But then I know that they would need to do that really well as well. I feel that they weren't doing that properly.
That's probably the case. They'd end up owning a big ranch or something with like lots of
Exactly.
sheep. So for female entrepreneurs who are kind of spotting some of these things in them, spotting some of these symptoms and saying, oh my goodness, that's me.
Yeah.
They're achieving great things in their business, but they still feel really inadequate.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people? What's your message to them?
Okay, a few messages, I think. First of all, kind of accept that an element of that is going to go with the territory, because whenever you're pushing yourself, you haven't done something before. Actually, it's quite healthy to question whether you can do it well or not,
Yeah, there's wisdom there.
isn't there?
Yeah,
And
there really is.
it's worth saying here that there's a flip side to imposter syndrome, which is called Dunning-Kruger
Yeah.
syndrome. And that's an inability to believe that you're inadequate in any way at all, or to think that you can't do things, and that's highly dangerous. And we've obviously, some of us have encountered people who think like that. So this is about a balance point,
Yeah.
actually. The things that I would say that help, some of them we've said, but I'll reiterate, really spending time to nurture yourself and nourish yourself and reward yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Look back over your shoulder, see where you've come from before you start moving on to the next place that you're going, and acknowledge all that you're taking with you there. One of the kind of side effects, I think, of being ambitious and having imposter syndrome is this tendency to just not stop and praise yourself and notice what you've done, and you end up striving and never arriving. So build in time to do that. I think get good people around you and ask them for feedback. Ask them what they love about you and what you could change, and they need to be people whose opinions you trust and respect. I think in addition to that, probably I do think there's one thing that I do that's a bit weird, but it's always worked for me. I imagine that I'm a journalist writing about myself in a woman's magazine, and when you take that sort of shift of perspective and look in on yourself, and you imagine that you're putting a bit of a journalistic spin on it as well, and making it look just a little bit more marvelous than it is, that really works for me, because then I go, actually, that's that's what someone else probably sees.
Yeah, exactly.
And it occurred to me when I was reading something, like Woman, oh, I don't know what magazine it was, but sometimes they show women with a lovely little dog and a cottage and a beautiful house. And they say, oh, and she makes jam and she's got an allotment and she runs a business making cushions.
Yeah.
And I always used to look enviously and think, gosh, what an amazing woman. But then if each of us did that for ourselves, we're all amazing women.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are. We all are. And I think that's the kind of power of the sisterhood in the way. And I know some people kind of cringe when you say that word, but kind of cheerleading each other on and pointing those little bits of light out in each other is really powerful to fuel us for our next kind of movements. Now, one of the things that makes you a really successful entrepreneur is obviously your business, Barefoot, and it's a coaching academy for people who are looking at becoming coaches. And I went through your training, and it was absolutely fantastic. Really, really great training. And I would say it's for anybody who is thinking about becoming a coach who wants proper training. Now, I can say this because I know you won't, but there are a lot of courses out there at the moment professing to be coaching academies coaching schools and deliver training that put you through a short course or one style of coaching, and you come out with an accreditation at the end of your weekend, and you're then allowed to meddle in people's lives. And I think that's what bad coaching is. It's meddling in people's lives. And there can be, I know that I've worked with a few people who have come out of that style of coaching, and it's caused a lot of damage. And what I loved about your coaching is that there's a proper accreditation. It's accredited by a university. It's a postgraduate certificate that you can then go on and do your master's with Chester University. So if anybody wants to find out more information about coaching, where can they find you? I'll put all the links below in terms of that. But what would you say? Who's right for coaching? Who would be right for Barefoot?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with some of what you've said. I think that there is the right course for everybody. And I agree. I'm proud of our course. I really like it. I put it together, and I put it together many years ago because I realized that coaching was probably going to be as important to people as therapy, and therefore the same sort of rigorous training to do it was required. Because you can't sit with someone and talk about their life and their plans and their dreams and their job and their business without it also touching other aspects of their life, their psychology, their emotions, their values. So I wanted the course that I teach to have that level of academic and psychological rigor. I do think there's a place for shorter courses that don't have that. Depending on what people want to do with their coaching and what they've already done before. But if they want to find us, Barefoot Coaching you're going to give all the details below, to the website. People who come to us, we now call them affectionately barefooters. There's just something about most of our students that's attracted to our course. And mostly they are people who are kind of eclectic people, people who shy away from the man of one book. Not looking for a formulaic approach, people who respond to our adult learning principles, so treating them as independent, individual thinkers. And Hayley, you will probably remember when you did the course that there were such different people on there, from CEOs to big businesses to people working in the voluntary sector, people of all ages. So it's about, if you have a hunger for understanding a bit more about the psychology that motivates people and an appetite for a wide range of different tools and techniques that you can use to help people help people be the best that they can be.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about your course as well, in that it offered so many different styles of coaching. Each teacher came with a different perspective, a different style, a different theory underpinning it. And you came away with all these different styles, and it really helped you to be able to know what fits. It was like trying on dresses. You could try them all on for size and see what really fit with you, and then take bits from each and meddle them all together. And it was just really brilliant in terms of how it resourced you to actually become your own coach, I think, which was brilliant.
Thank you, thank you. I'm proud of the fact that you could take 50 people who've all done the Barefoot Coach training program, and each of them would be their own coach.
Yeah,
they haven't got barefoot actually stamped on them. Yeah.
That's it. And finally, my last question to you is, here at Hello Revolutionary, we're all about being revolutionary. And what would you say is the most revolutionary step you have taken to get you where you are today?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard question to answer. Initially, I think the most revolutionary step, which doesn't seem in the teensiest bit revolutionary now, but I suppose that's what revolution is all about, isn't it? Was to move from working as a therapist to get this course to train people to be coaches that had a university accreditation when people didn't even know what coaching was, about 15 or 20 years ago.
Okay, we just lost you a little bit there, so I just want to repeat it. So it was about taking that step to set up Barefoot and teach people how to become coaches that had an accreditation attached to it when the UK didn't really even know what coaching was at that point.
Exactly.
Okay.
The other things that I have done that I would consider to be relatively revolutionary, if it could be relatively revolutionary, and this is something else that I would advocate other female entrepreneurs do. You've hinted at it already. Is I just contacted people who were bigger and more famous and more successful than I was, and said, please, will you come and teach on my course? So. And to my astonishment, they said yes.
Wow.
So even today, one thing that sort of distinguishes the course, as you know, is that we have sort of world-class speakers on. That all started because I just tentatively dared to pick up the phone a long time ago. So you don't know me, but will you come? And they said yes.
And now you're such good friends with them all as well. You've got fantastic relationships on the course, and you could really see that.
Yeah. But in the beginning, I was kind of nobody, and I was just taking a chance. But actually, I've experienced incredible generosity and open-mindedness from really big famous people who've even said, they've even cut their fees and everything just to help me out.
Wow.
So my overall message is ask for help, because most people are wonderful and prepared to give it, and if they're not, then they will remember you and admire you for asking. So ask for help in your journey to building a business, whatever business it is.
Oh, brilliant. Kim, thank you so much. That's really, really helpful advice. So rich with a lot of wisdom there. So guys, if you want to know more information about Barefoot, about Kim's book, of course, you can hear more of Kim's wisdom moving forward in Psychologies Magazine. But if you want to hear anything else, get in contact with them. I'll put all the details below. And for more videos like this, do subscribe to the blog. And I will be back next week with some more bites of wisdom for you. Okay, guys, see you later. Bye.